I'll always be my own worst critic. The world exists and I'm just in it. Find something good and mess it up. Lie and say it just wasn't enough. I'll always be my own worst critic. And I hate to suffocate between something I love, something I hate. If I don't know who I am, how can I ever give a damn? Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. At some point your hero must die. To escape the hands of time, it's okay to not be alright. And let it go, let it go, let it go. Face the truth and bare your soul. And in my head you said, look pretty, you so devious. Rode in from the windy city, yeah. I ain't got a clear view. You're scared I'm too right for you. You say you hate the smell of cigarette smoke. You only used to smoke when you drank. When you lived in Chicago and chilled where the wind blows. I wish I'd known you in your wilder days. Now here we go. You got me falling in love again. You got a secret I wanna keep it. I wish I'd known you in your wilder days.
Hey,
Morgan Wade.
how are you? Sorry, my other one ran over a few minutes. I
No
just got off another
problem.
one.
Look at you. This is exciting.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, look at that compound, cool hat. Love it. Love it, Morgan
How-
Wade.
How's it going?
You know, things are going great, Morgan. You know, first I gotta tell you, pretty excited to have you. We saw both shows at Third and Lindsley. Gotta tell you, Morgan, and the excitement and the energy in that room, Morgan, was palpable. I mean, people were like on every note, on every word, from the line outside to the end of the second show. It was an exciting night, right?
It was. It was. It was a good way to end the year off that I had had.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you there was a point where I looked at the bar, and I think that even like the people serving were like, when you started singing, were like frozen. They're like, okay, we're not serving drinks right now because something's happening on stage. But anyway, yeah, it was
Very
a
good.
special. It was a special night, Morgan. But anyway, tell me, is life crazy right now, Morgan? Is life crazy, a little crazy for you right now?
Yeah, it's a little weird.
It's a little
It's-
weird, right?
It's a little weird right now, especially after. Yeah, I didn't expect the record. I thought we did a really good job on the record. Super proud of it. But I guess I didn't expect to have a record on the Billboard charts or anything like that. I didn't expect it to hit that hard. And then after CBS aired on Saturday, it's gotten even weirder.
It's kind of
it's a good weird for sure. But yeah, it's gonna take a minute to adjust.
Yeah, totally. Because you're 25 years old, right, and starting to have this success. Do
Yeah.
you talk to anyone professionally about fame and success, Morgan?
Yeah, kind of. I don't really know, anybody. I've got like a few people that I kind of like chat with that try to keep me like level, and but most of them are guys, and so I think it's a little different. They're even like, I don't know what to tell you.
No. It's a new experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and the things that guys will say, on the comments and stuff that they don't say to men.
Exactly.
They're not gonna go comment that, so it's a little weird, but it's good.
No, totally, Morgan. Because I've been in radio 16 years, and I used to not talk to other radio people back then. It was a little kooky because I thought I was at war with them or something. But I mean, I'm talking about like, because everyone is pulling you and wanting for you to do different things right now, and learning how to say no, right? How to have boundaries, and kind of manage people's jealousies and all that, like new variables coming in.
Yeah. It's Yeah. It's funny. It's like you discover you have a lot of new friends, and then you lose some a little bit too. There, it's an interesting
Yeah,
kind of thing. So it's you find out the real people in your life for sure.
exactly. And I'm sure you're getting a lot of messages, and people are always wanting to request something instead of being like, hey, how are you doing, right?
Yeah. That's been a big one there recently, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, I haven't heard from you in a very long time, but okay.
Right. All the new variables, Morgan. But yeah, I mean, before we talk about Reckless, by the way, here's the album, masterpiece right here, early favorite for album of the year. I want to ask you about, being an old soul, Morgan, because if you will, because I do relate to that a little bit. And, you're writing deep songs since you were like 6 or 7 years old. When did you first realize, Morgan, that, man, I'd rather talk to X person who's way older than like, my buddy here, John Smith or whatever, that is like my same age?
I was like that, like at such an early age. My grandma had a hair salon in her basement at her house, and so I would sit down there and talk to these women in their 60s, 70s, 80s, every day. And then my grandma would also go do hair at the nursing home for some, and so I would make friends over at the nursing home. And just older people, man, they have so many stories. I mean, they have that experience. And I just always connected with those people. I remember a lady coming into my grandma's salon talking about how she babysat Elvis down in Tupelo, Mississippi, when his
Yeah,
parents were picking cotton
that's a
out there. And
story.
she brought in a picture, and it showed me, and I was such a big Elvis fan even as a little
Unbelievable.
kid. And so it was just like stuff like that I always connected. Even now, you know, my best friends are, 20 years older than me. And
Yeah,
I can learn from them. I can learn more from people that are older, and I feel like they're more mentors to me than anything. And I think you really have to have those kind of people in your life.
I agree. I agree absolutely. And you don't have to go through the same mistakes because they can tell you like, hey, if you do this, you're gonna fuck up. Like, don't no need to go through it, right?
Exactly.
Oh my God, I love it, Morgan. And of course, okay, so Reckless, obviously everybody loves it. I mean, I'm talking to all sorts of demographics, I'm talking to all sorts of people. Was there a point? I know it was an album that you've been working on for a while, Morgan. Was there a point where you look at Sadler, or you looked at your team, and you realized you really understood that you had something special going on? Was there like a particular moment?
Yeah, I started realizing too the amount of people that were, especially after like Wilder Days dropped. When we dropped that single, and just the amount of people after that um
Yeah,
coming around. But it's even been in like, I think the next morning, after the record had dropped at midnight, getting on there and looking at like the iTunes chart and seeing that it was number 4 overall albums, sitting right there next to like Taylor Swift and stuff like that. It was like, all right, okay, we've
we're
got
playing.
we're playing. I was like, I didn't expect that, and but we just all, I had so many people that believed in this record and like really worked really hard. I mean, Sadler worked so hard, him and Paul both, on helping me with this record, and my manager and my booking agents. I mean, everybody was so involved, and I was like, these are people that have a lot of clients. They have a lot of other people that they could be working with, but these people weren't asking for anything. They weren't making a ton of money off of this,
Right.
coming into this or anything like that. They were doing it because they believed in it, and they're like, no, we want to be a part of this. Like, we
Yeah,
believe in you.
they
And
believe in you. Yeah.
that's how I knew, like, all right, this is gonna do. And they were always the ones encouraging me, like, hey, this is gonna be really good. Like, enjoy your downtime right now, because you're not gonna have any downtime soon. And they were
Yeah.
right. So
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of Sadler, which you affectionately call Dadler, which is beautiful.
Dadler.
Dadler, yeah. Um, you met him at a festival in your hometown, Floyd, Virginia.
Yeah.
When you meet someone, because everyone here, like everyone in Nashville, is like, hey, we gotta work together. It's like it's very common. When do you like really talk to someone, and when do you realize like, oh my God, like there is actual chemistry here, like I could actually have a collaboration with you? Is it like dating a little bit, Morgan? Like do you feel each other out? How does that process work?
Yeah, and it is. You know, with Sadler, it was kind of like we talked on the phone, and then we did like a FaceTime to kind of like play some songs back and forth when he was on tour, and then we actually met in person. And like when I met him, I knew, you know, like, okay, this guy's super awesome. He's genuine. Like we're gonna get along just fine.
Yeah.
Other, you know, like working with other people, sometimes it takes a minute. You know, I work with Universal Publishing, so I'm doing a lot of co-writes and stuff like that. And it is kind of either you click or you don't, and like that's totally okay. Like if business wise or like being creative, like sometimes you just don't mesh. You can both be, you know, talented in your own space, but just like together it doesn't quite work. But it is a little bit like speed dating. You know, you just kind of
Yeah.
like, and sometimes it's like you jump in there and it's like, all right, we're just going to go right for it, and it doesn't always end up being something that you do again. But with Sadler, we connected immediately, and he's just such a genuine guy that it's
Yeah.
hard not to be able to work well with him.
I agree. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So when you get ready to like bring a project, whether it's to Sadler or to your people, Morgan, are you like, okay, guys, this is what I'm thinking. Help me like make this a reality, or is it more like help me like figure out this idea? Basically, is it like this is what's in my head? Help me put that into sound, or are you like I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. Help me like organize it into a coherent sound.
Yeah, a little bit of both. Sadler and I have been pretty good about, you know, we'll have an idea for a song, and I can be like, hey, you know, I've worked on this. What do you think? Or he'll send me something that he's been working on. He sent me something the other day, and we'll try to be like, all right, you know, I kind of have this idea. And what's really good is he can bring stuff to the table that I wouldn't think of, and I can do the same too. And then it's weird working with him because we both always have the same vision for the song. So far we have.
Yeah.
And a cool thing with Sadler is we can work on something for a little bit and be like, all right, let's take a break from this. Like, let's step away and we'll come back to it.
Right.
And whereas a lot of people, you know, they just want to get it done right there. Sadler and I have been really good about, okay, let's take a break. Let's sit on it. And we did that with a lot of these songs. And, you know, it worked really
Yeah.
well for us to not like, don't push it. And I think that we both work really well in that regard. But they always, you know, I can have an idea, and they really do help me to be like, okay, well, here, let's try this and let's see if you like this, and
I love
which
that.
works out.
Yeah, let him breathe, the whole thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Morgan, I mean, obviously, your voice is amazing. You can actually sing. We've had people here who don't really sing. It's weird. You know, there are certain singers that when you see them on TV, you always see them perform lip syncing, that kind of stuff. And they're always singing to a track that has their voice on it. Does it piss you off when you see live shows and people aren't singing live?
It's like, it's a weird thing. I haven't actually been to a show where somebody's not singing live, so I don't know what that's like. I do
Because you
feel
have good
like,
taste. That's why.
yeah, I feel like, all right, man, if I'm gonna go pay and see a show, I want to see you singing. I can understand a little more so if you're doing some kind of live from somewhere that's not like an audience thing, maybe, you know, lip singing, but I've never done that, so I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like I want to hear what you sound like naturally, versus, because obviously the record is polished and that's good. It should be, but like when you go see somebody live, like, yeah, I want you to mess up the lyrics a little bit and laugh about it, and you know, because it shows you're genuine, you're real. That's how I feel about it. I want to go hear that person actually sing and see
Yeah.
what's going on.
Absolutely, absolutely, Morgan. And you know, pivoting here for a second, I mean, you kind of recently, you know, you lost your dog, Gordy. We're very sorry about.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sorry about your loss. We have a Yorkie, so we're dog people. We get it. You set up a GoFundMe, which by the way, I think I told my producer we're gonna make a donation right now to it. Tell us a little bit about the idea for the GoFundMe to name a park after Gordy. What a beautiful thing. And tell us about Gordy. Just what's the memory of him?
Yeah, so Gordy, so I'd always wanted a French bulldog, and I've been touring and never home. And then the pandemic hit, and it was just like, well, we might be here for a little bit. And it was kind of just like, screw it, get a dog. You want a dog. And so I drove like 2 hours and picked up this little dude, and he was just super great. Just my little baby. I mean, he followed me around, and he had such a personality too. And it was Frenchies they're funny little
Funny little
dogs.
bastards, yeah.
Yeah, and so we had, obviously he was with me for about a year, and he and then the accident and
He had an
everything.
accident, yeah.
He got out when he had no fear, and he chased the car, and was like that. But he went out being a little badass, doing what he wanted to do, which was getting into trouble. But they were building a dog park here, and my friends, Buddy and Sean, and they basically helped me raise Gordy. I mean, Gordy was like their little grandbaby, and so we're there. Something kind of fell through with the area where we were gonna have the dog park, so we're actually putting it on their land now. So we're all that money is going in to help build the dog park, and we're gonna try to get it as a nonprofit and try to help with dogs that breeders have mistreated and stuff like that.
Right.
That's the plan. My friend Buddy has come up with, and of course I'll be on the road and stuff. So this was his idea, but it's in memory of Gordy and putting all that out there. Yeah.
We'll put the link up. We'll make it a reality. We'll rally the troops and absolutely get it done.
Yeah.
Gordy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Hell yeah, absolutely, Morgan. Well, you're being so generous with your time, but let me ask you a couple more questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so number one, I guess this album, huge success. They say that old cliche in the music business that you have your whole life to do your first album and only a couple to do your second or whatever. Do you feel are you starting to, I'm sure you're working on some stuff already. You have stuff under your sleeve. Like, do you have any pressure at all on yourself or anything regarding the follow-up or not really? You're just doing your thing.
Yeah. I've been thinking, I'm like, oh my gosh, Reckless has done so well. Like, that does put a lot of pressure on. I'm putting it on myself, but I was also like, just do like you did. Like, just write these songs. You didn't say, oh my gosh, I have to have this or this or this. I wrote real songs and was like, the songs are going to come to you. They always do. Just keep moving along, and it'll be fine. That's what I tell myself. That's not what I always believe right now, but I have been like, wow, yeah. But I'm like, all right, you have a minute. You have to tour this record. This record has to be out longer than, it's not even been out a month yet. And I'm already like record number 2. And they're like, well, we could wait a minute,
right. Give it to the world. Right.
Give it to yeah. So, I'm not worried, because if I just keep working with the people that I'm working with and a good team and being authentic, I'm not worried.
Yeah. But Morgan, like on a more, I guess serious level, I have to tell you, I mean, amazing talent, you're an amazing artist, all that stuff for sure. But one of the things that we love the most about you is that ever since even before the pandemic, so a lot of people found this out with the pandemic, they had this big revelation that they could follow their path and shed their bad habits. But even before the pandemic, you have been a person that has realized that life does not happen to you, it happens for you. You have managed to just find obstacles in your life and actually use them for growth. And that has been one of the most beautiful things that I think that you maybe don't even realize you're giving to your fans, that stuff. Do you ever think like, man, like all this, all the growth that you've done, and not only in the past year with COVID, but like just, the journey as a human that you've already done?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, sometimes you want to sit back and when you're going through stuff, you don't understand, like, why am I going through this? But I look back at everything I've gone through, and I'm like, all right, you wouldn't be half the person you are right now. You wouldn't be,
right,
writing what you're writing. You wouldn't be able to connect with other people if you didn't go through what you went through. Like I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Whether it's something we've caused or not, I think we can learn from like absolutely everything.
Absolutely. Listen, Morgan Wade, you have said it all, but I do want to say one more thing as you leave. This album is going to be nominated for a bunch of stuff, including Grammys and all the awards. And when you get nominated for the awards, I want you to come back to the show and we're going to talk about everything that's going to happen in these next few years. You want to make that promise?
I'll make that promise, man.
Amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Morgan Wade, it's been an honor to have you on the show. You're, what a talent, what an album, and what a human. Thank you so much for your time.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, man. Have a great day.
All right.
Bye-bye.